He'll be punished with this.
Okay, the first night of Sukkot, like we learned, you could have a ma'ariv early, but you can't make kiddush early because you have to eat in the sukkah after nightfall. Now, the first night, you have a kiddush. So you have the bracha, it's not Shabbos, you have bracha b'rei pi'agafen, and then you have the bracha shebach rabbanim mikolam, the bracha of kiddush, and then you have the bracha of the first night, leishiv basukah, and then you have the bracha shechianu. The second night, our custom is we do it reversed. First shechianu and then leishiv basukah. Why do we do the first night, first leishiv basukah and then shechianu? So the reason is because it says in Shulchan Aruch, building a sukkah is a mitzvah. Ideally, you should make a bracha on building the sukkah, shechianu, because you do it once a year. But the purpose of the sukkah is to make kiddush and eat. So by kiddush, when you say shechianu, it also goes, you're supposed to have in mind, it also goes on the building of the sukkah. So because the first night, the shechianu is also going on the building of the sukkah, first you make a leishiv basukah, and then shechianu, because the shechianu is going on the sukkah also. Second night, you do the reverse, you make shechianu first, and then the leishiv basukah. The first night, the first night, there's a biblical obligation to eat at least a kazayas of bread in the sukkah, even if it's pouring rain. Normally rain, if it rains in the Alpi, then you don't have to eat in the sukkah. The first night is a chiyuv, even if it's pouring rain, you have to go, we don't have the problem in California, Baruch Hashem. You have to sit and eat a kazayas in the sukkah. Now, you eat the meal, whatever, also you dip the chal in tahani, I custom in sukkahs, you dip the chal in tahani 3 times, but we also use salt. What? No, because again, it's not really the build. You don't make a bracha shekichem mitzvah tzivanu livnei sukkah. Okay, because the sukkah itself is a mitzvah as a preparation for the Yom Tiv. So the building the sukkah itself, if somebody builds a sukkah, but they don't eat in it, so they didn't get a mitzvah of building a sukkah. The shechin goes on that, but it doesn't have to be, it's not a mitzvah that you have to do a shechianu right after the shofar, right after the... What?
It's about salt.
No, we use, every time you have a meal, you have to have salt on the table.
Right.
So even when you dip into honey, our meaning is to also dip into salt afterwards.
First honey, then salt.
First honey, then salt.
Why we say the shechianu twice? If you said it the first night, it's 8 days.
Because we don't know which is the real day. It's not like Rosh Hashanah, it's one long day. This is 2 separate days. We don't know which day is which. So we say shechianu both by candle lighting and by kiddush.
But they only have one day, Rosh Hashanah.
It's one long day halachically, but it's 2 days. Has a halacha like 1 day. Okay. Now, women are not obligated in the mitzvah of sukkah. Nevertheless, there's a big argument, like we learned by a lot of these other mitzvahs, in the Rishonim, if a woman is allowed to make a bracha on a mitzvah she's not obligated to do. So it's interesting. The argument in the Rishonim is by the mitzvah of tzitzis, by the mitzvah of sukkah, by the mitzvah of shofar, by all the mitzvahs that are connected to time. So the Rambam and the Sephardic poskim hold that a woman is not allowed to make a bracha. Because you can't say shekitshanu b'mitzvayse v'tzivanu, they weren't commanded. They're not commanded. They could do it. They get tzchal, it's called eina mitzvah v'isif. They're not commanded. But like we said, the Rosh, the Rashba, Tosfos, the Ramah, they all hold that the Ashkenazic poskim hold that a woman can make a bracha because v'tzivanu goes on the collective Jewish people. So it's not on her personally, it's on the collective. So this Sephardic women don't make a bracha leishiv basukah or lulav. Some of them do, by the way, but they're not obligated in the mitzvah of sukkah. But if they want to eat in the sukkah, they want to make a bracha leishiv basukah, they have to sit under the sukkah that's kosher. Sometimes they have part of the sukkah is not kosher, so they say, okay, the women could eat under that part because they're not obligated in the sukkah anyway. But then they can't make a leishiv basukah if they're sitting in a non-kosher part of the sukkah. So they have to make sure that kids have to eat in the sukkah. Okay, so now at the night of the first meal, you have to make sure in the benching to say Yalla V'Yova in the benching. What happens if you forgot to say Yalla V'Yova in the benching, then you have to repeat the benching. Because there's a chiyuv to eat a Sudan Yom Tiv, so there's a very interesting opinion of the Rabbi Kiva Eger, but he's a lone opinion, and everybody disagrees with him. And he holds that women are not obligated to have a meal on Yom Tif. So according to Rabbi Kiva Eger, if a woman forgot Yalla V'Yova in the benching, she doesn't repeat the benching. But the halacha is not like him, and everybody disagrees, and they say basically a woman is obligated to eat a meal, so if a woman also forgets Yalla V'Yova in the benching, she has to repeat it.
If you're a guest,
Even if you're a guest, you say Leisha Basuka. And we're going to discuss soon all the dinim about when do you have to make a Leisha Basuka.
what about the Shechianu? You're in somebody else's sukkah.
You still say Shechion. Shechion's on the day for yourself. Now, if a woman lives alone, okay, and she's lighting candles and making Kiddush, so you don't make Shechionu twice. Shechionu is on the Yom Tiv. The same thing, a man lives alone, if he's lighting candles and he's eating in the sukkah, you don't say double Shechionu, because then that's a brach in vain. So what you do is, by a man, the minig is, it's brought down in halacha, that the man will make the Shechionu when he makes Kiddush. The woman, even though he lit candle, but by him the ikar is, by man the ikar is Kiddush. So he'll make the Shechionu by Kiddush. A woman that's doing both will make the Shechionu at candle lighting. But what happens if a man, let's say by candle lighting, made a Shechionu by mistake? Well, then he doesn't make it again by Kiddush, because obviously it would be a brach levatala. But it doesn't matter if you're in your own sukkah, somebody else's sukkah, you can make a lesha basukkah. Okay, now, okay, let's, now it's a very interesting thing. Let's say a woman is not making Kiddush, okay? There's a man in the house, he's making Kiddush for the women. Now he's making lesha basukkah by Kiddush. When do the women, if they're making lesha basukkah, when do the women make the lesha basukkah? So the minig is that after they wash for hamaitzi, when they make hamaitzi, then they make the bracha lesha basukkah.
Also for the guests,
if the guests don't make Kiddush, let's say they're not making Kiddush, whoever's not making Kiddush would say the lesha basukkah after they wash for hamaitzi. They would say hamaitzi lachem na'aretz shekachem and says lesha basukkah, and then they would eat because they're not making Kiddush. They just make it a Kiddush. Huh?
You have everybody in mind.
If you have everybody in mind and they have in mind to be Yaitza, then they don't have to make their own lesha basukkah. But what happens if they want to? They don't want to be Yaitza. Yeah, if they had in mind to be Yaitza and the guy making Kiddush has in mind to be Meitzi, then they could be Yaitza. They wouldn't have to make a lesha basukkah. But if they want to make it their own, then they make it after Meitzi. What? Huh?
And they also each say their own Shechianu?
No, they make it by candle lighting.
Let's say men that
If a man, let's say, is not lighting candles, because somebody else is lighting, and he's at somebody else's Kiddush and he's not making Kiddush, okay? So when does he say the Shechianu? So then the din is, he has in mind, the guy making Kiddush has in mind the Shechianu for the person that didn't make. But there's an interesting machlekes in Poskim. It's getting late. What happens if a woman lit candles? She made a Shechianu. Now the husband is making Kiddush. The husband is saying the Shechianu. Does she say Amen on his bracha or not? So there are many poskim that hold she's not allowed to say Amen on his Shechianu. Why? That bracha is not necessary for her. She did it already. So Amen for her is a hefsik, because she's saying Amen not in a bracha that she needs to hear. So it's a separation between the bracha of Kiddush and the Shechianu. So many poskim hold she doesn't say Amen. We hold, and many poskim hold like they do say Amen. But
you don't say Amen to the bracha that you hear a bracha.
you have to say Amen.
Anytime you hear a bracha, you say Amen.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to say, when you're not allowed to talk, you're just not allowed to say, What's it?